here. Just find my fifth finger, but I'll get back to it. But those are the pillars that you have to have on a foundation of compatible core values. So when you're clear about what relationship is or is not, ask yourself, why are you going into a relationship? Are you going into a relationship to try to get something or to give something? Now we know if it's a colleague or something, sometimes you want service from them. That's a transaction. Make sure you understand the difference between relationship and transactions. So if you're going into a relationship to get one of these, I'm about to tell you 5 emotional needs. I want you to think very seriously about this. The first need that we have as humans is certainty. We need to feel certainty. We have an element of chance to fall in on us, and we're able to relax and be in here. We also have a feeling of certainty that the ground is not going to open up and swallow us. Without certainty, we go through being fight, flight, or freeze. One of those feelings. So you need to have certainty. You need to ask yourself, and I'm going to ask you right now, what were you doing? What's the last time, or what were you doing, or when you last felt certainty? Think about your certainty. Just for a moment, when did you feel certain about something? If you ever look outside yourself for certainty, you're not going to find it. Certainty is an internal thing. So if you feel certain, for me, for example, meditation is a practice that I get to use. I feel certain when I'm able to observe my breath coming in and out. I feel certain about that. I'm alive. And I feel this certainty. When you're in a relationship and you're trying to get certainty from that other person, suddenly you're wanting something from that relationship. It becomes a transaction again. You want them to give you certainty. You have to find your own way of feeling certainty, and then when you step into a relationship, both of you with your certainty can support each other in their certainty. But if you go to that relationship wanting certainty, then there's going to be an imbalance. You have to come to that relationship with certainty. Certainty that you are worthy of love. What's your greatest fears? Not being loved and not being good enough. Every human, none of us are exempt from that. Our 2 greatest fears are not being loved and not being good enough. It's something, either not being good enough as a presenter, not being good enough as a father, as a partner, as a husband, whatever. We all have that fear at greater and lesser degrees. So nobody is exempt from that. And so we're constantly needing to find a way of feeling certainty. And we have to have our own tools for doing that. Some might get it from journaling. Some might get it from meditation. Some might feel certain in the gym. So just think about where you feel certainty in your life. That becomes your responsibility to fill your cup with certainty. Now, ironically, another emotional need we have is just the opposite of certainty. It's called variety, uncertainty. Because if we become so certain about something, we get bored, we get complacent with it. Oh, she's going to do this. Oh, you're going to have this sense of boredom because you feel like you know exactly how it's going to play out. When you watch a movie and you've watched it, you know exactly how it's going to go. Eventually you get bored with that. Sadly, we do the same things with relationships. So if you're counting on your partner or your significant other to provide you with variety, that comes back on you again because they might be feeling just quite comfortable with all this certainty. And you're going to end up feeling resistance, resentment, rejection, one of those 4 repressions. So be aware, you have to keep your cup full. You've got to keep your cup full and come to the relationship with full cups. The third one is significance. We all have a need to feel significant, that we matter, that we're seen. That's just a human need that we all have, significant in some way. So what do? You have to do it. What do you do to feel significant? You've got to keep yourself feeling significant. Don't count on or put the pressure on your significant other to make you feel significant. They can support you, but can't make you feel significant. That's an internal feeling that you are responsible for. So find a way that you can do something to take action to feel significant. Whatever that may be. Is this making sense? Some of these things? Yep. Now the flip side of significance is connection. You can be so significant that you don't feel connection. No, nobody can relate to it. Celebrities suffer from being so significant that they just don't feel even that they have a connection with someone. Are they only with you because I'm a celebrity? Or anything of that nature. So you can be so significant that you don't feel like you can have authentic and true connection. So you got to keep this balance. So again, what do you do to create connection in your relationships? And yourself, so that you can take it to relationships. What do you do to feel connected? It could be volunteering. It could be part of a team. It could be something where you feel like you're connection. You have connection within you. Not expecting a partner or someone in your relationship to make you feel like you have connection. Is this making sense? You're putting all this is off on you. So that when you do show up at this relationship, 100%, you're not going there, I need, give me certainty, give me variety, give me significance, give me connection. That's going to make for a very skewed and exhausting relationship. The last two that we have our need are growth and contribution. So we spend most of our time as humans trying to keep our first four needs in balance: certainty, variety, significance, and connection. Once those are kind of met on a regular basis, then we have this real need for growth and contribution, because as we learned before, if we're not growing, we're dying. So we do need to feel, and that's part of how we can support our relationships, is to help them, support them in their growth. Can't force them, can't make it. It's got to be an internal. They want to. Something that inspires them, something that helps them feel, because it all goes back to the feeling. When was the last time you felt certainty? When was the last time you felt variety? It all goes back to the feeling. Significant connection, growth, contribution. All right, is this all kind of making a little bit of sense? So now think about which emotions are being magnified. Because let's ask you this. What is the purpose of relationship if it's not transactional? If it's not give me, give me, give me. I need you to meet my needs. What would be the purpose of relationship? What was that?
Get your own joy.
To get your own joy. What else? Anything else?
Growth.
Growth, okay.
Sharing.
To be witnessed, all right? So that comes back to some of these needs we're talking about. All of those things you can get in relationship, but you can't go there expecting it. So let me offer you this idea. How about the purpose of relationship? How about it be to magnify the human experience, whatever it might be. The goods, the ups, the downs, magnify life. If you think about, you've just tasted something that's absolutely wonderful. That was great for you. But now you want to be able to share it with someone. Share it with someone that can get equally excited about it. That magnifies it. Same thing with life. If you're really living our best, I use this acronym as part of my coaching. I love acronyms. My coaching objective, love. We want to magnify the love. And if you think about love as being living, I had to put a little B in there, best version every day. So love, if you think about living our best versions every day, you are living in alignment with your core values. And in doing so, you are feeling very fulfilled. You're feeling good about your life. You want to magnify that. And the way you magnify that is through relationship. Because it does. It's all, well, oh, yep, I got all this good stuff. And I used to say a person has nothing, absolutely nothing, if they have no one to share it with. Think about that for a moment. I remember as a little kid, I had to play alone quite a bit, but I had the coolest toys. But they kind of sucked because I didn't have a sibling or anybody to share and play with. Think about that in life. If you don't have someone to share life with. So I only offer that as a new idea, a new thought for the purpose of relationship. It's not to get, but rather to give and to magnify. Does that sound like something that would kind of help create or inspire you to create authentic relationship, not transactions? All right, I'll make sure we don't keep you too long here because the music is going. Communication in relationship. Oh, sorry, back up. So which emotions are being magnified in relationship? Think about this. Are the relationship magnifying negative emotions, positive emotions, or both? Because it can. It will magnify. Sometimes they talk about relationships really point out just the things that we often don't want to see within ourselves, but we're confronted with. And if you just remember, what we resist persists. So if something comes up, if you're triggered by something, and you feel upset about it, once you know what your core values are, you can ask yourself, okay, hold on. Why is this bothering me so much? It won't be about them. It's never about the person. It's always about your interpretation of what they said, what they did. That's just the thing. What are you doing with it? What meaning are you giving it? And if you think, okay, well, that's why that pissed me off so much. They totally poo-pooed my idea of wisdom, how important wisdom is to me. And it's telling me that I'm just always searching for something and I'll never be satisfied. Growth. That's why that upset me, because they challenged one of my core values. They didn't do anything. You interpreted that way. Because they probably didn't even know that was your core value. So they're not deliberately trying to cause you pain. Or standards. You think about this. When someone does something or says something, and you've chosen to let it trigger you, think about, okay, well, what are my core values? My standards are a little bit different, but they're all in there. Has been violated. And you realize that's on me, because they may not share the same core values or the same standards. They're not trying to hurt me, but I've made it hurt me. You see how you take responsibility for your own? That's how you can create authentic relationship with understanding yourself and how you're relating to another. Is this kind of making sense? Excellent. So as one of the tools that I like to use and share with others is, I can't remember when I discovered it, but it was a book by, I think his name's Manuel Ruiz. It's called The Four Agreements. Has anybody heard of The Four Agreements? So simple, but so powerful, isn't it? I mean, when you think about it, and the first, I'll share with anybody that doesn't know the Four Agreements. The first thing is to think, or to be impeccable with your word. All right, that's a fancy way of think before you speak. And in his book, he says, without sin, impeccable. But I use the acronym think before you speak. So T, is it true? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it's not one of those 5 things, think twice and say nothing. And you'll save yourself a lot of... Now, that being impeccable with your word is not just what comes out of your mouth. That's obviously a powerful one, but it's also how you talk to yourself. Think about that. You are much harsher with your own words towards yourself than you probably are with anybody else. So really work on thinking about how your internal dialogue goes. Is what you're saying to yourself true? Oh, that person must really hate me because they think I dress funny. Is that true? I don't know. That's making stuff up to the story, right? Is it helpful? Is it inspiring? Is it necessary? Is it kind? If it's not one of those 5 things, thinking before you speak to yourself or to others, that's going to be a very powerful tool to apply to creating authentic relationship. The second thing is to not take anything personally. You don't know where that person is coming from. You don't know what they're dealing with. You don't know. So don't take it personally. And in doing that, make no judgment on them. Because judgment is internal. Balance a game again. And I don't know if you've ever heard the expression, judge not lest you be judged type of thing. Or the old finger. If you judge with one finger, there's 3 pointing back at you. When you think about it, the penny only dropped on this one a few months ago. I always was concerned about if I judge somebody, there's going to be 3 people judging me. I don't believe that anymore. That judgment is inside. That means that I'm going to be 3 times more judgmental of myself. So if I have it in my heart to judge another, there's a good possibility that 3 or 4 times I judge myself even harder. And that reinforces that fear of not being good enough and not being loved. So be mindful and make an agreement with yourself not to judge. All right? That's something you get to work on with yourself. Because that authentic relationship is always going to start with yourself. If you can't be authentic within yourself, you're not going to be able to create an authentic relationship with others. Does that make sense? You can't give what you don't have to give. The third one of the 4 agreements is make no assumptions. You can't assume what someone's intentions or thoughts or whatever are. So make no assumptions, because that's a story. You start telling your story. And sometimes things may look the same, but you always have to say, this is not that. Yeah, in a past relationship or past that, this meant that. But this doesn't mean that. This is different. It might, but you can't make the assumption. It's going to take some communication and exploring. So you can go to the next phase and say, well, what else could it be? So rather than making that assumption that something, and usually we make the assumption towards the fear side. False evidence appearing real. That's where fear comes. And every action we take is either coming from a place of love or fear. And so ask yourself, give yourself this gift of what else could it be? So rather than locking in on something that you know is going to hurt you, back away from it and say, what else could this be? What else could this action be? And it might serve even to say, okay, well, which of those 4 of the 6 human needs might they be trying to meet? Are they trying to meet are they trying to get some certainty? Are they trying to create some variety? Are they trying, or do they need some significance? Do they need some connection? Quite often, our subconscious is trying to meet one of those 4 human needs. That makes sense. If you think about maybe some of the stuff that you've recently encountered, think back, why did they behave that way? There's a good possibility subconsciously they're trying to meet one of those 4 of the 6 human needs. What's that? Yep. Hey, at the end of this, I'll tell you guys right now, because we're going to wrap this up in about 5 minutes anyway. If you got your phones out, I'll give you my number, and all you got to do is text relationship, or yeah, I'll get it because I know what it is. And what I'll do is when I get back home, I'll send you a link to a Google form, and on that Google form you can request these notes and the video. I keep stepping out of the frame, so you might not actually see much. But the video will be available as well, so you can request that on the form. So I'll give you that number now. It's 021 169 3609. Okay, 021 169 3609. So just text relationship and I'll know that you were at this workshop. And I'll send you a Google form link. In this Google form, it's going to ask you about 6 questions. And the point of these questions is to remind you what you took away and how you're going to implement this stuff. So it's just it's kind of integration questions. Because if we ask powerful questions, we get powerful answers in our life. All right? So that's why I say, never ask why does this always happen to me? Why does this always suck? Because your brain will find reasons to find why this always happens to you or why this sucks. So ask better questions. So that's part of what the integration thing is. All right, we're about to ready to wrap this up. Seek clarity by asking. Always do your best. This is the 4th of the 4 agreements. Always do your best with love. Living our best version every day. So like we said before, today your best could be 100%. Tomorrow your best may only be 70%. The next day it may be 110%, you know. So always do your best. That doesn't mean you have to be the best. Just do your best at the capacity that you're able to on any given day. Because if you go into your relationship and you go, oh, well, they didn't do the dishes last time, so I'm just going to leave their dirty cup over here. Okay, well, that'll work for a little while. Then pretty soon you'll find resistance. I hate it when they just or don't wash their cups or don't do this. And these little things will create resistance initially, and then at some point you might end up with resentment, and then at some point rejection. And now we've only got 2 more things to cover here.
We're having a great time.
Was that?
We're having a great time.
Oh, good.
Oh, yeah, no rush.
Yep. The 4 agreements. All right, so the 4 agreements, the first one is to think before you speak. So be impeccable with your word is what he says in his book. And I just use the acronym think before you speak. The second one is to not take anything personally. So no judgment, don't take anything personally. I added the no judgment to it. His book just says don't take anything personally. The third thing is make no assumptions. So don't, always ask, what else could it be? Realizing this is not that. Seek clarity by asking. Ask. Just straight out, what did you mean by that? What, straight up. Number 4, always do your best, whatever that might be. And your best, this is the thing, your best will be in alignment with your core values. Living our best versions every day. If you're doing that, you are truly doing your best. If you're trying to be something you're not, that's not going to be ultimately your best. That's a performance. Your best is going to be when you're most authentic. And when you're at your best, you're going to be able to show up to relationship with that kind of energy, with that kind of mana, that kind of goodness. And it creates a space. That's why I use our best versions every day, because it creates a space for those that you care about to grow. Remember earlier on, we talked about relationship being able to help the other grow or give them the space to grow. So nobody has to be small. Nobody has to feel like they're not good enough. Because we all have those fears anyway. So we can try to support, and we can be most supportive when we're filling our own cups of those needs, certainty, variety, significance, and connection. When we're meeting those needs ourselves, we can show up without needing to get that from somebody else. We're all needing to do that. You can support them in filling those needs, but you can't fill those needs for them. And you can't get them from anybody else. Is this all making sense? I hope so. Okay. These are the elements of creating an authentic relationship. You got to apply them. All right. So, only 2 things left. The power of selection. So when you're choosing, and believe it or not, we are choosing who we're in relationship with. Yeah. When you choose who to be in relationship with, subconsciously, you got to be aware of your patterns. Why are you choosing? If you become, the more aware that you become, you need to ask yourself, can this person align with who I am? And who I am is at your core values. When you identify your core values, and I do that in another workshop, when you identify that, you will feel a sense of self-knowing. This is who I am. And it brings you a sense of certainty. A very deep sense of certainty. This is foundational stuff. So can this person accept who I am at my core? Can they? If they have contradictory core values, they won't be able to. There's nothing wrong with them. They're just not compatible. It's just not a fit. Okay? So you can say, okay, well, if I select that person, knowing that our core values are not compatible, the chances are we're gonna go through those 4 R's pretty fast. The next thing you ask yourself in the selection process is, will they support who I am? Are our core values compatible enough that they will show up, that they will come to relationship 100%? Will they? So can they? Will they? Is it a team fit? This is alignment with the core values. And you got to be honest with yourself. And so I have an exercise, and we won't get to go through the exercise because it normally takes me 2 sessions during my coaching to get somebody through this, but I'll give you the main points. It's a clarity to define your ultimate relationship. So what I do is on a piece of paper, I have you draw a line right down the middle of the paper. And believe it or not, it's always easier for us to start with the mate from hell. Because we all have an idea of what we don't like in a potential partner. From past experiences or whatever. So on that left side, you write down all the things you do not want, you do not like about a potential partner. And usually that list comes quick and there's a lot of laughter. I don't like smelly feet. I don't, whatever it is. You list everything. I don't like farting and holding my head under the covers. Whatever it is. You don't like it. All right? All right, so you list all those things. Because this is going to give you clarity, people. This is going to give you clarity. All right. Of that list, you need to highlight, circle, no more than 5 deal breakers. Because you might not get the partner that can meet every one of those things. So you got to be realistic about this. So the 5 deal breakers. This is your clarity. What are the 5 deal breakers that if they possess even one of these deal breakers, there's a good possibility this relationship is not going to go, it's not going to be authentic. It's not going to go the way that you might want it to go. If you compromise on one of those, you're settling. And you're going to get your, and if you think I'm going to change, no, I can change them. I can love them to be different. That's not authentic, people, and it won't work. It might work for a short term, but it won't work long term. If you go into a relationship thinking you can change the other person. So if there's one of those 5 deal breakers, it's best to say at that point, I'm glad I know now, and it's okay. We're not a fit. Now on the other side of this page, you write down all the things you do want. So write down your ideal partner. They could be their shoe size. It could be the color of their hair, their height. Write down everything. Just go crazy. Just write down everything that you want in an ideal partner over on the right side. Now once you've done that, circle the 5 must-haves. Because again, chances are you're not going to get absolutely everything on your wish list. So choose 5 must-haves. Okay. Now this is a little bit different. They must have, because if you don't get that must-have, so maybe it's hygiene, maybe dental hygiene. We'll go with that. They got to have good dental hygiene. If they don't have that, and that's really important to you, every time you get near them, there's going to be a sense of resistance. Geez, why don't you just brush your teeth once in a while? And you're going to start building up this thing. And believe it or not, that's a crack in the foundation of an authentic relationship. Little as it may be, it's important to you. That's why it made it onto your list. Is this making sense? Okay. So now, under those 2 lists, you're going to write down who you have to be to attract that kind of person. That person that has all those qualities, those 5 must-haves, and those 5 deal breakers. Who do you have to be? Now, ideally, who you have to